Oh, hi! First project of the new year. Yes, I went on a whole tangent last video about my plans to only use fabric that I have in-house already, been finished works in progress, and all that kind of stuff. Yet here I am with fabric I've purchased in the last 48 hours. It's a gift. I was too sick to make it the week of Christmas or else I would have bought all the material last week. So here we are, already starting off the new year, completely going against what I was saying. Although the one caveat to me only using stuff I have in-house already is custom order stuff like this. I mean, it's a gift, but still custom order enough, like I let them choose what it looks like. And as for what the gift is, we're gonna make a Woodsling today, which I feel like is maybe not super useful to that many people, but you can make a mini version, and if your dog has a bad back, you can like help them walk along. I know that's a thing that exists in the world. I don't know what else would be made easier with the use of a Woodsling, but we have a wood stove, especially being surrounded by lumberjacks. It is a very cost-efficient way to heat a home. And for those of you keeping track, yes, I am still sick. I don't feel it in my head as much. It's mostly just my throat now, which hurts, but isn't coming with all that other discomfort and swelling and everything. So I don't know what's better. Cold medicine helps with the other stuff. Something like whiskey is going to help with this, and it's good. This actually isn't going to be that involved of a project. Again, I was talking about how excited I am to do more involved projects this year, so here I am with brand new fabric that I just bought, and we're doing something that like is not going to take that much to do. I say now, I've never actually made a wood sling, so like, I don't know. Anyways, enough of me justifying the project. It still needs to get done. So here's what you need is just my coffee from earlier this morning. I should go make some tea and then spike it with something. But I will wait till after this project is done so I don't completely lose focus for the day. So this is my little tiny diagram for what this needs to look like. It's basically a long rectangle with two handles at the end. My measurements are 38 inches plus seam allowance either end because I want to make a nice, double folded hem. So I'm going to call it 40 inches long, and the width measurement I have is 20 inches. We're also going to have to add a double hem seam allowance to that, or a double folded over. I don't know the term for it. We're hemming all the edges is what I'm trying to get at. So we'll add another 2 inches there and call it 22. I mean, for this kind of thing, I don't think you really need to be too particular about the measurements other than having it being longer than it is wide. And the longer you make it, the more you can carry. We're like, I have tiny toothpick arms. I can't carry that many. So I use a smaller wood sling than I'm making here. But this gives the recipient the option to carry more if they feel so inclined. So too long didn't read version. The measurements I'm going with are 40 inches by 22 inches, and then we'll deal with the handles after. Oh, as far as the here's what you need part, it's duck canvas and matching thread in a sewing machine. The end. This is the color that matches ours the most closely, so I'm gonna go with this. I have my measuring tape, masking tape lined up over here, so adding up to the 40 inches is gonna be really easy. And I have this other edge of my desk to use as like a straight line so that I make sure this isn't going cockeyed as I'm measuring over. I think the most efficient way to fold this so that I'm not wasting any fabric and I still have some like long strips I can cut the straps out of. I use this handy dandy measuring tool Cheryl sent me because she's the best. And yeah, I'm only folding it over so that from the raw edge here to where the fold is half of the width that I need. So I want a 22-inch wide panel at the end. So I'm just folding it over at the 11-inch mark so that it'll be folded when we cut it, and then when you unfold it, it'll be double the width. I feel like I'm making it sound much more complicated by explaining it. I'm just gonna check in a few spots that it's all even. Then I can either cut along here. I'm gonna mark a line and then cut it after because I don't want to risk moving any of this around. Okay, so I'm gonna cut at the 40-inch mark now that I have the end point up here. See, this is exactly why I wanted to mark the line. It's because I knew I'd be shifting this around. I need a bigger cutting table, but we're working with what we got. Okay, and because there's a lot of creasing, I'm going to heat up my iron and press this out, and then we'll get to hemming. All right, I mean, it's mostly pressed out. I did my damnedest. Now I'm going to serge all 4 edges just to keep the fraying to a minimum. Hey, quick talk, y'all. If you have machines, it's a new year. If you can't remember the last time you cleaned out your machine, just give it a little love. Put a little oil in there if it needs it. Oil your scissors, sewing machine oil only. Don't put other shit in there. Don't do it. You want just the stuff that's supposed to go in there. I just gave all of my machines and scissors a little TLC during Christmas, so now I get to yell at other people to do it from my high horse. So yeah, I recommend doing it if you haven't done it in a while. Not that it was a crisis, but had it been, it has been averted. Okay, now we're gonna hem all the edges. So I'm just gonna fold the serged edge towards the wrong side. So this is the wrong side. I'm gonna fold this over once, twice, and just do that for all 4 edges. I think I'm gonna do the long edges first. Oh, let's zoom you back out. There we go. I think I'm gonna do the 2 long edges first and then do the short ends. Ooh, and I'm using gold thread as the thread. Cool.
It ain't my fault that I'm out here making news and that she was not the baddest bitch involved.
Okay, so 6 layers, I can do math, of this is too thick. No, 8. That's 8. Why math so hard? The way I wanted to fold these corners where I have this doubled over here and then doubling this back is too thick for this. It won't do it. I unpicked it a little bit, just like ½ an inch. And I'm gonna trim it down to that fold there. So like this. Okay. And then, yeah, that is much more manageable. Okay, so listen, I got this part done. Beautiful, beautiful. Then I got caught up watching the Big Fat Quiz of the Year 2019 because I love British panel shows. I need you all to accept that about me. I also did finally make my tea and put some orange brandy liqueur inside. And I cut out my straps. So these are 3 by 19. And then I've started to fold over one edge. I'm going to serge all the edges, but I don't know. I decided I'm going to iron first, but you will have to serge and iron at some point. So I folded this over 1/3 of the way so that when this goes over, it'll line up almost at that edge. We'll get to that when we get there. But yeah, so both of these straps, I have it clipped just so it's nice and even. And yeah, I'm going to iron that first edge down. So it looks like this. And now I'm going to fold this other edge over. So that's wrapping like right against that first edge. This isn't sticking out at all. So if you need to like shimmy it over a bit so it's more towards the middle, then that's also fine. And then just to make sure these are the same width, you can just kind of like check them against each other. They're pretty close. It can be tricky when you're eyeballing stuff, so that's good to keep an eye on. That's a good look, huh? I'll get a new iron one day. And maybe one that cost more than $6. Okay, now I'm gonna serge the 2 long ends open. So like just the single layer. Here's my plan of attack. Now that I have these all ironed and serged and folded over, I have them reclipped. Normally, if I was making something like this, I would like tuck this under, or I would like have it right sides out. No, inside out, and then flip it out after. But I need to keep the bulk as minimal as possible here. So I'm gonna stitch along this, and then I'm gonna serge each end with just the 3 layers. So like the serging will be exposed, but because it's serged, it's not gonna fray, and it's gonna get stitched at least 1 row. I'm gonna see how it's looking, but I have this close enough to the edge where if I stitch along the edge here of the serging, I think it'll be maybe like 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch in over here. So if I match it on the other side, it won't look too bonkers. I think it's gonna be okay. I can't stitch through more layers because if I add another layer here, when that gets folded over, it's gonna double it. So rather than 6 layers, it's gonna be 8. Plus the regular sling part, we need that fabric under that too. So it's just way too much for my machine to handle. I also do want to note that like it's tough stitching on such a thick weave like duck canvas, because I mean I stitched in a straight line. I kept using the edge of the foot as my guide to keep a straight stitch, and like just because if you're over 1 thread, it's such a thick difference from row to row of thread that it like it's so noticeable, where that kind of thing wouldn't be seen if it was like a higher thread count, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm kind of annoyed by that. And it's just an extra annoying thing because I decided on gold thread for this. And when you do contrasting thread, everything shows. I think it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be used to transport wood. I want to make a nice gift for these people that I care about, and I hope they like what I'm making for them. I don't need to keep justifying it. I'm sure you have all experienced this, and it's very annoying. Let's just decompress a little more. I put so much brandy in there. Ooh, okay, a little thing I like to mention once in a while, because it's something that's very helpful and something I never thought of before. With this folded over like this, you need it to line up exactly or it's gonna pucker a bit if there's too much like give on one of the layers. So if you need to like stretch your fabric a little bit, I mean this isn't stretchy fabric, but you can still ease it a little bit. You never want to pull against the machine. Like you never want to pull the needle because that'll fuck up your timing and maybe break the needle, which is never a fun game to play. But if you're like pulling against your own hands, it's gonna make for a smoother seam if it's starting to like get bunchy. This also does work for stretchy material and something I just do second nature now, but I never thought about it before. And yeah, it's made a really big difference in like making edges line up and everything. So just hopefully that is helpful to somebody for something you're doing. So that's where I stitched along the serging, and then I just, like however far over these stitches were, I just matched to the other side. So now this is what the top side looks like. I'm not mad at it. Okay, so now I'm gonna serge the short ends of both the straps once I trim all these fucking threads that are poking off of here. They're like little whiskers. So now we're gonna place the straps. They're just gonna get that serged edge folded over once and then laid flat. As shown on my teeny tiny little diagram, the straps are placed 3 inches down from the short edge, so it'll be this side. So 3 inches down from the edge, and then where they're attached, there's an 8-inch gap between the two. So I have this edge 3 inches down, and then this is 20 inches. So the midpoint is 10. So I'm just going to measure 4 inches over from that midpoint each way. And that's where I'm going to attach my straps. So I'm just going to translate that to the other edge. Okay, so I have this pinned in place. Hopefully this angle works a little better than me constantly having my shoulder in the way. So I'm going to do what's called, I think, a box stitch. I have tiny stitches. My machine is set at 2. It's that stitch you see on handles and straps a lot. I'm going to do a stitch straight across the bottom. We're actually going to go over that one more time and make sure I'm going like edge to edge. This is going to be the weakest point of the whole thing, so I want to make sure it's like super reinforced. So I'm going to have the needle down right at the corner here, and we're going to turn it this way, pretty much 45-degree angle. We're going to stitch across. Back stitching a lot. Needle down at the edge. We're going to come straight across this way. And then we're going to come back down to this corner. So it's 2 lines with an X through it. And it just kind of looks like a bird's nest right now. But hey, that looks reasonable, right? Oh my goodness. Okay, it's all done. And it looks like a wood sling. I don't hate this. I feel like these handles are a good width. They're right about an inch. Yeah, they're exactly an inch wide. I mean, as I said at the beginning, I don't know how pertinent this is to any of the rest of you. Wood stoves must be pretty common, right? It's not like, oh, this is only a thing people in New England do. It does feel like a very quaint northeastern town thing to be doing, is having a wood stove. But, you know, they're practical if you have the means of having one. I grew up in a smaller city outside of Boston, and I mean, it was all like shithole 3-tier apartment buildings and stuff, so there were certainly not wood stoves when I was growing up. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up all pretty and send it to its new home. Oh, I really hope they like it. I mean, I did say it wasn't super involved. I've been working on this for a while though, and it had its own challenges, which was fun to do. And yeah, something I would not have done otherwise if these people had not wanted a wood sling. So yeah, Merry Christmas. Merry belated Christmas. Sorry I didn't get it done sooner, but y'all saw me on Christmas Day and is rough sailing for this one. But yeah, I would tell you what project I'm gonna start next, but I did that a lot last year and then I didn't do that project, and I'm sure that was kind of irritating. I'm annoyed with myself for not doing those, though those are all the projects I want to do this year. I'm not going to promise anything. I'm just going to work on what I feel like working on, but within those parameters I set in my Happy New Year video explaining, yeah, what my goals are for 2020. So, ooh, I'm so excited this is done, and I think that's going to do it for me. I will see you all back here with another video next Friday. That's still like new and exciting to say. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be morning posts. I think I can like routinely post at like 7 or 8 a.m. I'm also on Eastern time and get up a lot earlier than most other people, so it'll give everybody time to watch it like as the day progresses. But yeah, thank you all so much for hanging out. Okay, not only did my serger stop surging, but I also wasn't filming that whole time, so cool. Everything's fine.